So we've always said that Nick's battle was an uphill battle, right?
Yes.
Because, for instance, with each one of the issues that he brought up for the motion to dismiss, it just didn't seem like it was going to work. The first one was the video, right? The video, the guy didn't look at the entire video or something like that. So we said that was a loser. The thing about the guns, right? He's saying the guns weren't part of search. We thought that was a loser. And the rest of his arguments we thought were just nonsense. So our prediction going in was that all of this would be denied. No?
Yeah, it didn't really look good. I mean, even from the start, it didn't look good because the standards that you apply in a probable cause are very low. You're just trying to find reliable indicia that the evidence of the crime can be found in the place where it's located. And so that evidence doesn't have to be as thorough or as detailed or even as reliable as evidence that's used at trial. For example, you can use hearsay in a warrant where you can't use it at trial because of different standards. So right from the start, there was problems just because the standard is so low. And the idea of this Franks hearing was that the cop lied, and at least in the ones that I've seen that have been successful on a Franks, they tend to be shock the conscience kind of discrepancies. They don't tend to be like little details. They tend to be full fat, no nonsense, unambiguous contradictions that cry for desperate relief. It's the kind of thing that is more typical in a Franks.
Yeah.
So I didn't have a lot of high hopes for it, and it didn't work.
Yeah. Now, just for I like to be totally transparent. Again, Nick is both our friends. I've literally spoken to Nick. I've been speaking to Nick for the past couple of days. I reached out to him this morning and we talked. So, me and Nick are still cool. A lot of people, for some reason, are like snowflakes out there. Like, oh my God, you don't believe Nick is going to win, so he's going to be mad. Nick is he's a big boy. He knows that, when I tell you guys something, it's coming from my honest opinion. I tell Nick the same thing I'm telling you guys. So there's no bad blood that we say that we believe is not going to be successful. I've told Nick I don't think it's going to be successful. So and that's just the way it is, right? So for those of you who believe that we're being so mean to Nick doesn't even think that. Nick he'll sit there and argue with us these points. So just let everybody know. So it's like he was talking to Nick. Yes, I was talking to Nick, but that hasn't changed. That hasn't changed my opinion on most of the things. But if something does change my opinion, I'll let you guys know. But right now, it's just hasn't. Go ahead. You want to say something?
No, it's just what I do, and I certainly know that you do endeavor to try to get the law right and try to provide good quality legal analysis. So when we try to provide an opinion, it's because it's our best analysis of what's going on. And my friend Nate here has experience both as a police officer and as a prosecutor. So he has experience in this domain. So he has a pretty decent idea about what kind of warrants will be valid and not. So between us, you can think that we're trying to give you a pretty reliable opinion.
And not even to not, it's sad because, the only reason why I'm really even doing this or even getting into this analysis because Barnes challenged, remember he challenged us all, read the documents, do the analysis. And I'm just going to say it. Nothing he said worked. The judge destroyed everything. Matter of fact, none of his arguments were even there. So, I don't, again, it's sad because I personally want to focus in on the legal part of this.
Yeah.
But I just think sometimes, our legal analysis isn't going to change based on who the person is. If it did, then it wouldn't be legal analysis. I'd be trying to push a narrative.
And the other thing that we both commented on, and I definitely believe this is still true, it's like once the state passed the motion to dismiss, we're going to trial.
Yeah, it's over.
Because there are no more preliminary moves here. There are no more intermediary steps. It's like we're going to trial. And so the only thing left is can we get it on the calendar?
I don't know how to be cool with Nick considering his kids are affected by this. Yeah, but just because someone has a particular drug issue and their kids are affected doesn't mean you can't be someone's friend. Like I wouldn't leave someone at their lowest moment if I'm their friend. If I'm a friend, I'm trying to help you get out of that, help them get into rehab, help them solve these issues. Just saying because of what this being alleged is so bad. I don't. if the argument is I shouldn't be his friend at his lowest point, then I was never his friend at all, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I mean, I don't really know the details of what's going on in his home life for how it has or has not impacted with his children. You know, that's just speculation. You know, I like to stick to just the facts that I can know in terms of what the state is presenting or what the defense is presenting. And at least for the criminal case, things are looking pretty bad. You know, we're looking at a fairly serious felony, assuming, of course, that the state doesn't change it to be even more serious based on the testing. So I don't know what time limits they have there in Minnesota, but at least in principle, they could amend these charges to bring additional charges based on the additional drugs they found, and potentially even more serious charges than they brought initially, depending on the details. So there's the possibilities are only downhill.
Yeah, this is kind of just tangentially, like he had the coke, he got the guns, you got kids there, you know, it just all kind of wraps up together. But I want to make it very clear for all of you out there who may think that Nick is pretty much is done. Like, we all said, if that search warrant is not tossed, he's done.
It's a 2-witness case for the state.
So
it's a 2-witness case. You call the cop to the stand and you say, "Were you there that day?" "You surely were." "Were you wearing a body cam?" "Yes, I was." "Great. Let's roll through that footage frame by frame and discuss all the things you saw and observed. Is this you holding the bag of the drugs?" "It sure is." "Thank you, officer." Second witness. "Hey, lab tech, did you do a test?" "I sure did." "What'd you find?" "They're drugs." "Great. No further witnesses." Anything beyond that is bonus.
Yeah.
So it's a 2-witness case, and then you throw in additional stuff if you have time.
Yeah, I think at this point, I think he's done. Where do you go from here for Nick? What's your legal out here?
Your best option really is to take a deal. I don't think the judge is wrong. The judge's findings of fact, obviously, are findings of fact, and you're not gonna overturn those on factual conclusions by the trial judge. You're not going to win on that basis. And as for the legal issues, I think that the judge is correct. And plus, you can't really appeal anyway, because because you can't appeal interlocutory. You can't appeal this while the case is ongoing, I don't think. So that means the only way you could appeal this is by going through and getting convicted and then appealing this as part of the conviction. I don't think you can appeal this in the interim. So, and I don't think it really works anyway. So your best option is to try to find a, diversionary program that gets you out of this, preferably with a misdemeanor or better would be nice.
I'm going to say Nick is proper effed. Nick, it's over. Yeah. This case essentially is over. Like I understand, and it's one of those weird things where it's hard to say, but this case is over. And every lawyer who is not insane has been telling you, if the search warrant is found to be good, if he can't get it bounced, he's done. At the heart of this case, people, this is a simple possession case. We found drugs on you in your house or in your car. It could have been in your car, in your house, in your pocket. We found drugs on you. So unless the search was bad, then we can but because the search now is good, stone cold good, that the judge is saying, what do you got?
Yeah, and so like the only other thing you could try is trying to argue as a matter of fact they're not your drugs. And then, of course, you have to provide some evidence from somewhere they're someone else's drugs, which presumably means that you have to take the stand, because where else can that evidence come from? So the only other thing you can do is the Shaggy, it wasn't me.
Yeah.
But that, even if you want to try the Shaggy, it wasn't me, that's a trial issue. There's nothing left for the judge to do. The credibility of the witness is a matter for the jury.
But I will say this, though. I kind of feel vindicated by this whole thing, because we're being called ridiculous, non-practicing, we don't know what we're talking about, and all this other stuff. It's about like what Barnes was saying. Barnes is killing us, right? He's like, you guys are dumb, you guys don't know what you're talking about. And literally, this judge, it's like he watched our videos. He was like, hey, listen, what these guys are saying is exactly what the law is, and put it down on paper. And it one thing it does also shows you too, bad lawyering can really get you fucked up. Like if those were his arguments going into there, the First Amendment, like, yeah, I mean, First Amendment, Second Amendment, Third Amendment, Fourth Amendment, Fifth Amendment, even though I'm quartering soldiers, right? Like, even that's an issue. Like, but none of that was even argued. None of that was even. Matter of fact, the judge rejected all of that in such a methodical way too. Do you see any way you can attack this on appeal? I'm asking you, just based on what you read.
No. The findings of facts are not attackable. They're not going to be clearer or anything like that. They're perfectly reasonable factual conclusions, and the law that falls from them seems sound. I don't see any basis to challenge this.